So what have you found? I mean, you're one of the leaders in this topic. Obviously, you've created this 2-year course on bioenergetic therapy, and I am amazed that this is a topic that I'm just learning about, even though I've always believed in the mind-body connection. But the science that you're presenting is so incredible. What are your sources for so much of what you've learned and now you're bringing to other medical professionals?
Well, good question. I have a tendency to approach things within the mind or the body that have fallen out of balance from a forensic approach, meaning let's get down to what's caused this.
Yeah.
So we live in a time where we have really advanced research tools that can measure things. So there's a lot of research out there now about the mind-body connection, the neural circuitry and how we're actually designed, the electromagnetic flow in the body, which is how we carry information about everything into our body and then down into our body systems.
Yeah.
And I also have a strong faith. So I like to balance against what I read in the Bible with what I've learned in research. And honestly, the exciting thing is they support each other.
That's amazing. Yeah. That's so exciting. Tell us about that.
Well, we're designed electromagnetically. We have a tendency to think of ourselves as liquids and solids, like bones and water.
Yeah.
But the truth is, if you could see inside yourself down on the cellular level, our cells are in constant motion. They're vibrating constantly and emitting hundreds of thousands of electrical impulses. And that's how our cells communicate with each other. So those electrical impulses are literally carrying all information throughout the body.
Incredible.
Isn't it?
It is so fascinating. It's just amazing. When you look at life around us, this plant, everything that's living has cells.
Yes.
And it's such a miraculous reality. I'm always amazed if someone doesn't believe in God. I don't understand that, right? Because
we are a magnificent design. It's just hard to believe it happened by accident.
Yeah. And our bodies are meant to heal. That's another thing. Let's talk about that.
Well, we are. We're created with rebalancing systems. We need to start becoming more aware of listening to our body's signals. We're not really taught to do that in our culture.
Totally.
But our body will talk to us.
Yeah.
And if we learn to listen, we can bring ourselves back out of an imbalanced state before it manifests as, a significant illness or disease.
It's just amazing.
Yeah.
And, our culture is so driven by pharmaceutical, by processed foods, by fast food, all of these things that contribute to ill health. And there's no real regard in our everyday, certainly not in the traditional medical world, to the things that, what you've just discussed, at a cellular level, the energy that flows in us and through us is something we can't ignore. We can't ignore it because it's in all living things. Yeah.
We are seeing, though, a trend with the patient in large numbers recognizing this isn't working for me in the medical tradition, but there's got to be a way. Yeah. So what's called complementary medicine or integrative medicine is actually on the rise, which is pretty exciting.
Yes,
and there are more and more programs being developed to teach about this, which is also very exciting.
It is. Yeah. You have just shared so many important things with us today, and I thank you for that. Is there anything we haven't covered that we should cover today?
We didn't have a chance to talk much about breathing. Breathing is vital.
Let's talk about breathing.
Okay, so breathing patterns are vital to help the nervous system regulate. And when we're in chronic stress, we move into shallow breathing. So if you can become aware of your breathing pattern, there's some tools that you can use to bring it back down into the deep, regulated, calm breathing that informs the mind and the body. Hey, I'm actually okay. There may have been something that excited me or stressed me, but I'm okay now, so I can return back into calm. One of my favorites is a method to kick the parasympathetic part of the nervous system back into place. And it's very simple. You can use it at home. You simply take a finger and close one nostril. You take deep air in through the other nostril, as if you're going to dive into a pool. So a nice deep air, and then you hold it for the count of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, and then not letting go of the nostril. Exhale out through the open nostril for the same count. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and then rest for a moment. And it just brings you back down into calm breathing. That's one way to help regulate the nervous system. It's another tool also for bringing truth in. So if you can regulate your breathing while bringing in the truth in the moment, for example, there's nothing threatening me, there's nothing overwhelming me, those two things combined help the body relax dramatically. You can also start paying attention to body signals like posture. If you find yourself with your shoulders up towards your ears or hunched forward, the body actually informs the brain. So those types of postures are actually informing the brain. There's something in my environment that's threatening me. If you can pay attention to that and literally roll your shoulders back and drop them while you exhale, that begins to inform the brain, okay, whatever was threatening me has passed. Yeah, that's a big one. And then the stories we tell ourselves, becoming aware of that.
How we talk to ourselves.
Yes, yeah, the loops that we follow. Because when we create, I mean, if you think about it from the position of brain science, we have a good 30,000 to 40,000 thoughts a day. Not most of those are we conscious of.
Right.
However, that doesn't mean they're not occurring. So the most common loops of thinking that we have attach themselves to other thoughts. And that's what creates this loop or rut of negative thinking that people think they can't step out of. When we can become safe enough to also become aware consciously of what are the things I'm telling myself and begin to shift those, then the brain develops new neural circuits. And you can begin attaching to the more positive truth.
Yeah, that's amazing.
And then we know that the neuroscience of our thoughts affect our neurochemistry. That's based on fact. Now that we know that, we can, with intention, just decide, I'm going to spend 10 minutes, because that's what the research has shown, just 10 minutes intentionally bringing in thoughts of gratitude. And they don't have to be profound thoughts. It can be the same 3 thoughts over and over. But within 10 minutes, the neurochemistry begins to shift. And how we feel starts to shift.
So gratefulness, self-talk.
Yes.
Self-talk is a big one.
Noticing body signals and shifting, breathing.
I think a lot of us tend to tell ourselves things that are negative and very judgmental of ourselves.
True.
We're harder on ourselves than the world is on us. How would you suggest that people work through that?
The first piece is becoming aware.
Yeah.
And the next piece is sitting with it and looking at, where did that belief or that self-talk come from? More often than not, it came from childhood experiences. Then we get to go back in and do what's called reparenting, looking at, was what we learned about ourselves actually based on truth, or was it based on the pain or the unresolved trauma of a person who was in some type of authority over us? Once we can get down to that, we can begin to shift to the real truth. What is the truth about who I am? That's where we become intentional. How do we want to present ourselves in the world? How do we want to believe who we are? And intention drives everything.
Yes, for sure.
I work with my clients in getting down to intention. What's my heart longing for? and then beginning to assess with conscious awareness, is what I'm thinking, what I'm about to do, going to support what I'm longing for?
Yeah.
And if it isn't, how can I shift it to really support it? Because I get to choose and create my experience in the world.
That is so powerful. So powerful.
It's the mind-body connection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In wrapping, can you share with us the top 3 things that maybe 3 or 4 things that people can apply right now in their lives that can really help them move forward in this topic of mindfulness?
Sure. Vagus nerve regulation, using the technique we talked about earlier, where you put your hand across your chest and across your abdomen and really bring yourself into the moment to become aware there's nothing threatening me.
Right.
There's nothing overwhelming me. I am safe. That can help bring you into the moment to then become aware of what's my breathing like, and utilizing some breathing patterns that bring you back into a deeper, more regulated pattern. Pay attention to your body postures, even things like jaw tension or neck tension. And then finally, and probably, well, they're all important, but this one is a big one, really with just objective observer approach, not judgment, just noticing what is the story that I'm telling myself, and can I shift that?
I know you've written a book. Share with us very quickly, what is the name of your book, Marcy?
So I've written a book that's titled Blessed with Energy, specifically to address concerns that people have about, especially people who have developed a faith in a Christian belief, concerns about, is bioenergetics aligned with the truth about who we are? So it addresses just the beautiful electromagnetic nature of our body.
Yeah.
And it addresses how we can pull out of balance by blocking that flow of electromagnetic information that's flowing through the body. And it's basically just alleviating any concerns so that we can come back and really appropriate, if I can do the things that help support my body, I've got this innate rebalancing that was given to me to keep me in a state of health.
Love it. Marcy Myers, thank you so very much for being here today.
Thank you. Yes, it was a joy.